Had issues with some people on there earlier. I got to figure out a way to get admin on there or something because it was just. I don't. First off, disclaimer: if you're gonna come on and say rude things or crude things, please go somewhere else. This is a training channel, a learning channel, a fun channel. This is also a family channel for other people to learn. So there are kids on here, so please be really careful on what you say. Okay. Um, Having said that, I'm going to show you what I was doing. Okay, so now yesterday I showed you that I had this thing cleared out. Well, what I'm doing here today is trying to clean out the inside here. And I don't know if I can get you guys down lower, you can see a little bit more. Anyway, inside here is a hole they used. I started out with a small drill bit. It's like a 1/4 inch, went up to an inch. Now I'm at a 2 inch. And what I want to do is clear out enough to where I'm only going to go down to thickness of what this is. So a little bit less, maybe, no, that's about a 1/2 inch. And what I'm going to do is take off what I have here, the rest of it, and then I'm going to gouge it out with my gouging tool. Now this is tricky because you're way in here. The gouging tool can only go in so far, so we'll see how that works. So what I did here is I went back to a certain point. I marked on here on my on this rod here how far I want to go. So whatever the distance is this to this teeth is what I marked on here. And that's kind of what I do here. Okay, so that's how I tell the difference between what I'm doing. Do I know what I'm doing? No. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I had issues earlier. I was on about half an hour ago or so, maybe less, more than that. People were being some real rude people were on here this morning. I don't know what it is. I think it's people from out of the country. Pretty sure of it. I got hacked a while ago, and they just won't leave me alone. You know, it's like I have to start another channel all over because of that. So anyway, hope God I don't, because it takes forever to get them. So I was working on this thing yesterday, and on and off. When you're drilling through here, you want to make sure you get this thing cleared out enough for this chuck to go in there. And I've learned when I'm making, like narrow things, um, if I want to make a really small, narrow neck, yeah, there's a lot of devices you got to use to get this done. But what I'm doing here now is I'm going to take out about a 1/2 inch worth of stuff, maybe a little bit more. And what it does is I got this thing, you push this in as it's rotating. Now it may get, just so you know, I'm going to get a little loud here. And the reason I use this is it keeps the blade cool or the drill bit cool. Now I want to let it stop before I check it. I think I'm down for enough. Oh, I got like a 16th, 18th, almost a 16th of an inch to go. But you see it smoking. This thing is fried anyway. I gotta get new enforcer bits. Now, if you want it, that thing with a compressor, you want it. Make sure you cool the darn thing off before you even touch it. If you do, just use what do you call it? Use gloves. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more in here. Should be okay now. Shoot, I'm like that close. Now, always wear your face mask, because I had this thing pop off on me once. Okay, so there you go. Guess what I do? Well, if you see the shop, I got wood everywhere. I collect it from all over. I actually collect it from all over the world. So, I have a couple of things I got from Germany. My wife's cousin, her husband was cutting a tree down, or trimming a tree with his chainsaw, and I got a piece of wood. It's about maybe 8 or 10 inches around. I brought it back. Now the thing is, you're supposed to go through customs and all that stuff. I put it in my luggage. That goes in a plane. There's all this stuff that people say you're supposed to do, like fill out some forms to make sure. They're just making sure bugs and stuff don't get into it. And I got it back here, and it was funny looking. It was like, when I turned it, I should bring it down here and show you guys this. It's pretty interesting. Now, I keep it because it's different. It's got a green look to it. It's awesome. But the problem is, I'd go to turn it, and I'd say, oh, this ought to be cool to sell, but no, I don't want to sell it. And then the other one that I brought back, different tree, I couldn't do much with it because of the way it looked. So, and it kind of warped a little bit. I was going to make a plate out of it. I decided to just keep it. It looked like a piece of meat. So it's basically a stand, like a placemat or something, for something to go on top of it. So, yeah, that's interesting. See, that's the thing with this. This is a it's a crabapple tree. And what I like about these crabapple trees is their unusual look to the bark. You ever seen zebra wood? This is kind of like zebra wood in a way. Osage, same thing. You know, I love Osage. I love green. So a lot of my friends get this stuff that's oak or maple or something like spalted maple. Well, the problem with spalted maple is it's kind of, I don't know, every time I get a piece of spalted maple, it's so far gone that it's not even turning. It's full porous and stuff. This stuff is almost, it's like Osage. It's hard as a rock. So, you know, I mean, it just depends. I like the green. I don't like to butter up a lot of stuff on it. A lot of guys like to do that. There's a lot of guys I know will take and spend a lot of time doing doodads in here and carving. Now, I don't like doing that. The Hawaiian people, though, I'll tell you what. You ever heard of pyrography? Any of you guys heard of pyrography? Well, I've got posts on here, and I've got posts on my Facebook page and my Instagram page from when I just got back from Hawaii about a week and a half ago, and the or 2 weeks ago almost. The pyrography is the bowls they make. They're about this big around. They're bigger than I could make actually. Um, Everybody's got the lathes, the jet lathes where you can turn them, around. But anyway, there's this one particular wood. It's called Norfolk pine, and it's the most bizarre piece of wood where you drill, where it looks like all the branches come out, like all the knots are in the same spot. And if you look at the pine, I've got a picture of it. It looks like a fern, and it's kind of a cross between a regular fern and an arborvitae, where the really tall, narrow ones. They go really high, and I bet the trunk is. I've never seen one bigger than this size, the trunk, but they're huge going up. A lot of people like those, and when you do a bowl in them, you can make it really paper thin, and you can put a light through it, and at night you look through it, it's like a lamp. People like doing carvings on it. The pyrography is just so intricate. If you know Hawaiians, the native, the native Hawaiians like to do a lot of their historical stuff on bowls and things, and even on themselves. So a true Hawaiian will have a lot of stuff. Well, The Rock, Rock, what's his name? The actor. He's Samoan, but it's still the same thing. He's got all this tattoos on his arm. Anybody I know, and some of the football players that are from Hawaii, same thing. It's the same kind of stuff, but it's intricate. And I watched a guy do this once when I was over. It's time consuming. And that's why they ask like $2,000-3,000 for a bowl. I mean, I don't think there's a bowl that I've ever seen that hasn't been like at least 1,000. Well, this I probably will do clear. I use polyurethane on it. I could do friction polis if I want. But here's the thing, I've got this here. Now, the key to this, use a brush. Now, the reason I say this is and this is where I keep glass jars, all right? And you can cut the glass jar and make a little bowl. If you've got to go to the dollar store and buy yourself a glass jar, not plastic, but glass. And what I do is I pour a little out in that container that it's into that glass bowl. And I take one of those cheapo painting brushes you can buy at Lowe's, Home Depot, or Menards, wherever, Ace. They're real small, and I go over it. Now, the reason I use that instead of rag is because I've got debris in here, and every time you take and brush this on and then pull the brush into the material, you're dragging crap out of it, because it will come off. You will have stuff that'll come off, and you've got dirt. If you're ever doing finish work on a cabinet or something, the last thing you want is, do it in a dusty environment. Then when you finish it, you go back and all of a sudden you got all this rough feeling and you're finished. That's it. I'll show you guys when I get to that point. When I finish this, then I'll do it. Well, I'm going to start that right now. Maybe. I'm thinking about putting doors on this backside because I keep hitting this stupid thing. Now, I got to have this as close as possible to here because I'm in deep. And here's the key to the thing is, if it starts chattering, done. You're done, all right? Unless I can get a bigger bit, I'm done. There. I had to move that dang thing out of the way. You hear it chattering? It's because I think I'm beyond what my working place is, and I don't want that. But I actually think it's pretty good the way it is, actually. I'm going to do a little touch up here. The other thing is, with that chattering that moves around, you want to make sure you're safe. So you also want to do this. I always double check my stuff, because this thing can pop off on you. Trust me, it has. See, it's tricky doing it that way. It's not a safe way either. But it came out the way I wanted it. So, hang on a second here. The other thing is you can't ever have enough. This is 120. I have it rolled. This is easy. You put it on your sander too. Just stick them. It works out pretty good. You buy those pans from Lowe's or Home Depot. It costs you a fortune. I mean, go through sandpaper like crazy. So. The only thing is when you're doing this, your hand could get burnt, I mean? And just be careful. I don't know if I would wear gloves on it doing it this way, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like doing any more than that. So I'm just going to finish what I'm doing. Now, as far as standing on the outside, because you have bark on there. It's the only bad part about doing stuff with bark on it. You really don't want to do this. So the idea is to take your palm sander and sand it. It's easier to do it that way. And otherwise, if you try to do it this way, you're going to take the bark off. The look I want. Now, I could have gone, if you look at the way this is at right here. Okay, so this thing was, I'll have to show you. It's better to show you this. The branch was, the middle of it wasn't exactly in the middle. In other words, see the knot. Okay, so that knot, that center part of the branch, it wasn't dead center. So the way it grew differently. So this is the outside part of it right here, and that's like in the middle. No, that's not. I did this in the center, believe it or not. But the branch was kind of odd. I've never seen a tree where the branch is perfectly cylindrical, and the knot in the middle, or the center of the cambium layer, or the pith, is dead center. I've never seen that. There might be some, but in this case, in this case, that's the way it is. In my personal opinion, when they're like this, you get more bang for your buck or more turning. And that's what I look for. And this is why I tell people, when you're going to do stuff like this, make sure that find something that's really going to pop. You know, I'm not big into big stains and doing a lot of fancy artwork. I like this kind of wood with the way it is. I like the uniqueness of grain. I'm a tree hugger, okay, so I'll say that right off the bat. And I have background in forestry, so if you really like woodworking, you want something like, if you're building a piece of furniture, you want something with some really unique grain on it, and it pops. People, if you get like maple, or let's say aspen, you go get aspen. Aspen's good for painting. Okay, let's say you're going to make cabinets and you want that, your wife wants just white. You basically can paint it white. You get that kind of paint, you spray it on, and yeah, because there's no grain to it. That's what that stuff is. A lot of people tend to use cabinets and stuff because you don't have to worry about the grain showing up. So I've experimented. I've done furniture in my life. Sometimes you just have to play with what you get, and personal taste. That's my personal taste. I don't like to get into about a hoopla when I do segmenting, for instance. That's the reason why I do segmenting. I have fun doing it, but again, think outside the box. Be unusual, and I'm unusual. If I make something like everybody else, then what's the difference? Yeah. Well, okay, so I've been in the trade for most of my life. Okay, it's that land of hard knocks kind of. I started out, my degree and everything is in forestry, and look what I'm doing. Instead of growing trees, I cut them down. No, not really. I was a firefighter for quite a while, and I learned a lot from that. Right out of high school, all right, you would. This is what I tell college kids. Okay, go work with the Forest Service for a while. Go be on a hot shot crew. If you can't work with 19 other guys or 20 other guys, then you're going to have a hard time in life, man. That's all I can say. And you're working in life-threatening situations. It's like the fire guys in Palisades in California. That's my stomping grounds. I used to be up in those hills. That's where my station was. And let me tell you, that was a no-win situation. It's a freak. It's like in Maui, what happened. Infrastructure caused it, but here at the same time, the winds were blowing so fierce, you can't. Trust me, you can't do it. But here's the thing. There's 19 other guys I had to answer to. If somebody should get hurt or lose their lives, and because of me, Now, I'll give you a good example. Prescott house shots, like, I don't know, 8-10 years ago or something, they kind of broke the rule. They all went down where they weren't supposed to. And guess what? They all got killed. But see, this is where you got a CYA. I mean, always look, if you're working with somebody, always look. When it comes to woodworking like this, I love doing it. I love showing it to people, but I also want to make the safety factors involved and all that too. If you're working with people who do it, I'm sure you get it. If you're a woodworker, you got your partners that do cabinetry, But, the other thing is to make sure the other guy knows what the heck you're doing. Do I know what I'm doing? Not necessarily. Now I'm going to get another piece. Now, as far as sanding devices, I have a bunch of sanding devices I can use in here too. And I'll tell you right off the bat, you can never have enough sanding. It's like tools. You can never have enough tools. I'm Tim the Tool Man Taylor, or Norm at this New Yankee Workshop. That guy had more tools. Anyway, the idea here, for me, anyway, is I like natural, el natural. Go naked. I love naked wood, right? I should write an article about nakedness and woodworking. You know, it might get me into trouble, right? Okay, so this is one of the tools I use. You could go in here like this, right? Oh, this one's a little bit too big. I got another one. Hang on a second. And see, what you do is you go in here like this. You've got to be ever so careful. What I've done is I basically have done this. If you're ever sanding stuff, kind of tighten it. You want something to lean on, right? Like that. But you got to be careful you don't get that little and it spins the opposite direction, you know, symmetrical force. And it works pretty good. I mean, oh, what do I do with the other one? Alright, now, this is a finer one. This is 320. You know, 320. People say don't use more than 320, but okay, so what I tend to do is use, well, 220. Some guy says, well, I get 220. I'm like, yeah, you're right, Wade. But see, what I tend to do is I'll finish this, and I'm not worried about this inside as much as the outside. Okay, so I think I've got it about as shiny as I get. You might have rings in here and stuff like that right there. And yeah, it's difficult. You just go back and forth with different kinds of paper. I could, you know, get that out of there if I wanted to, but yeah, it's because it's so far back. And the other thing is too, you could do this. If you're worried about it, the only thing I can tell you is it gets tricky when you're just down this far, because these things have a working thing on it. So you got from here to here, you got about 3 inches. The reason why you don't go from here to here is because it does this. So really, you know, you're getting tight in there, and because it's a small piece, I'll show you. See, now I'm barely touching that. And let's see what I got here. You feel it. This is where you need another person in there. Hang on a second. So I'm back to 120, right? Okay. Now, the idea is when you do this is to make sure you don't have a lot of rings. You know, the only reason I don't use regular bowl gouge on it is because it's so tight, and it doesn't, in my opinion, these rings, I'm more than I want. Let's see, right here, see that right there? We got a lot of rings in there, right? And this is what makes it hard to get out. No, I've used drum sander on this. I've got one on my radio arm. You got to be really careful with that. Get a lot more RPMs behind it. Yeah, I use my radio arm for other things. I don't think I've cut a piece of wood on that in years. So what I do is this is 80 grit. I ran out of 80. I'm not worried about spending a little bit more time sanding it. The only thing is I can't get all the way down there. That's why. He's going to get the bottom third, or the top third of here. So what's everybody doing? You guys working today? Yeah, I can't do much. I'm getting my hip worked on next Monday. So tomorrow I've got a pre-op appointment, and I can't eat or drink certain things, so. Hey! Hey, Greg. So, yeah, it's coming better. Now the key to me, and this is just for me, learning from the land of hard knocks. Don't spend a lot of time sanding. If you guys can spend time getting more, perfect with your tools, that's great. When you're doing small stuff, I mean, you gotta have the right stuff. There's a guy, and this is the thing. I keep buying more stuff for the tools, and I keep finding more stuff for this lathe. And there's guys in my woodworking club. They have this big device that goes across the top of your lathe, and there's a big rod, and you can get in deep. I forget what they call it, but yeah. And I always tell people, if you're looking for a lathe, your lathe is going to be the cheapest one. I think that's about as far as I'm going to get with that. Yeah, a little bit more. It's getting the back half that kills you. I got my burning my fingers. Yeah. This is where I wish I could get that 80 grit down in there. But oh, I always like going around in circles. Get it? Are you working today, Wade? I forgot to ask you, what do you do? What do you guys do for a living anyway? I'm retired. I'm kind of retired. I do this for a hobby / profession. I mean, between this and my trainings, but I sell these during spring and the summer and the fall. My wife and I have a booth. We do art shows and craft shows. Yeah, last year I think we did one a month or something. Batavia, the next town over, Batavia Arts Council has a farmer / artist go, and usually the third Saturday of every month is when they have the art stuff, and we do that. And then we belong to an art studio too, and then we do that, usually a couple times a year. But I haven't done anything big outside of my meetings with my group. I do bowl donations, for charities with them, but good. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I don't know the first thing. You know, I have a hard time with this. Um, how do I block idiots from being on here? Um, I actually blocked them. There were some people that were coming on being rude, and I just basically had to pull them up and block them because they're being stupid. Um, but how do you put it on like and have an admin? What I need is a moderator. How do you get a moderator? Is that YouTube thing? You have to go special for that. When it comes to electronics, I don't know the first thing about it. Oh, I wanted to have my own podcast too on this. So, okay, so that's looking better. Now I'm gonna do the 320. Ew. I gotta clean this floor up. So you'd be Wade the cable guy. Hey, Wade the cable guy. Anybody ever say that to you? Hey, I got a joke for you. Okay. What if one split piece of wood said to the other split piece of wood? Come on, what did one piece of wood say to the other split piece of wood? You crack me up. Get it? You crack me up? Nah, you didn't get it. Alright, so well, that's pretty good. You crack me up. You crack me up. Well, I'll tell this to people. I aim to please. I'm trying to think of all these. I used to have a whole list of woodworking jokes. Now I can't think of them. Some of them are kind of rude. I don't want to put on here. Yes, it's PG, so I don't want to put it on there. You watch some of this stuff on the internet. I mean, on YouTube. Man, especially the political outlets. My God. You know, I can't understand why we elect these boobs. They go out and they bash each other and they cuss and they what do you call it, slander each other. If it was me and you doing that, we'd be in jail lickety-split. There ought to be a rule against that. Of course, they always break their laws, no matter whose side you're on. I hate politicians, period. I despise them all. I think they're corrupt, rude. They take your money, by the way. The way I figure it, taxes. Taxes are a form of bribes, right? So they're basically the public is bribing them just so they can stay somewhere. Too bad we can't figure out a way to get back at them. Voting doesn't help because we're all too stupid to figure that one out yet. We keep voting the same boobs in every year, so. That's the other thing that's sad. There's a mayor that's running in town for his like 4th term or 5th term because nobody else wants him. So he does have one guy running, but I doubt if they'll go anywhere. I think last April is when I think April or May or something, they have we have a must be a, huh. Well, that's good enough anyway. Okay, so I gotta clean this floor up. There we go. That's not bad. So now what you got to do is go back with your palm sanders, and these things here in the corner grab. See this? That's how out. There's no stop on it, which is, I don't know why, but this is a Barracuda 2. I've had this for a while, and there was supposed to be a stop on them. They don't have a stop. They're supposed. I mean, there's a whole story behind this. This is the second one. The first one I had was broken or something. Okay, so supposedly when you with this, what happens is there's a, I think it's number 4, had a pin in it, and there's a groove in the bottom of where this goes, where this sits. If you pull this off, you can see there's a groove, right? Well, that pin is supposed to keep you from going out beyond that. Well, it's stupid. Now, it broke off at some point, and you didn't know it because of, I'm not forcing it, but it did it to me twice. All right. So now there's 3 sets of these teeth in the cabinet that I got. Actually, I should remind me. The problem with that is, I mean, you can see when this sits in there, it's not exactly, true. You see when it go around, it's circle, but when you bring it out, it's not anymore. It's not a true circle. So, I don't know. The Nova chuck might be better. For anybody that's turning, the Nova might be better. So, I don't know. This is just my opinion. I know people that swear by this thing. I swear at it. I don't swear by it, I swear at it. Well, there we go. That's the only drawback about this. Getting it off. So, hang on a second here. I'm going to be putting this back in there. Put that back in there. Okay, we'll put the spindle in there. Alright, so this thing could be used as a punch too. So if you find a center or something, you're turning, you could use that as a punch once you find the center, instead of having a separate punch. I have several separate punches. So, okay, so now I'm gonna what is it? Punch and Judy, Punch and Judy. Okay, so this is it, right here. That's what it looks like. Now, what you could do with this, there's a couple of things you could do. You could drill a hole through this and put a knob on here. Now, I've got these. Hang on a second. Alright, I got these knobs. This is a knob here. You see that? You go on here like that. Well, now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this on. Nah, forget it. I'll just do this. That might be cool on there. That one. There's this. I don't know. That's a mushroom, I think that's more like a drawer thing, don't you? Yeah. There's this. And there's this. But but I like this one. I kind of like this one if I wanted to put one on. Now some guys will put finials on there, and it's overkill. You know, make tall. I could do that if I wanted to, but I'm not into that. So there, you could drill a hole in there. Oh, by the way, I did get this from Hobby Lobby. I got these from Hobby Lobby. I believe they're $3.99. Well, the big one, yeah, some are three. This one actually is $4.99. Can you believe it or not? Yeah. So you can get these at $3.99, and Hobby Lobby's got all kinds of stuff. So that's a place I usually go. But that's how you make a box, or how I make a box. Now, if you're smart, you wouldn't make boxes so tall. You can make boxes half the size, you know. Now here's another thing. You can make a box out of this. What you could do is basically turn it like this. All right, you got to do a bunch of stuff to it, and then what you do is you gouge it out, but then you can make a lip on it. And then what you could do is get another piece of what I like to do is get like 7/8 inch, one by or something thick, and make it a lid that's kind of got like a lip on it. So it may be sticking out, maybe, you know, 1/8 of an inch or maybe 1/4 of an inch at most. Make it look like a mushroom, you know, or an acorn. That's another thing. You can make these things look like acorns. So, acorn, get it? Acorn. Anyway. I guess that's it for today. I gotta clean up my mess, but yeah, I'm gonna sand this. And I like this thing. I think it's pretty cool. I'm not worried too much about the inside. What I'll do is I'll probably go through and I like to take the air hose and get in there and get all that white stuff out. If you ever get to the point where you want to test it before, I've actually taken a damp cloth and go over spots. Most of the time it's on the bottom. But if you take it, it's everywhere. If you touch any of this stuff with water, anything with the, you know, damp cloth doesn't have what you want on it. It may raise the grain a little bit, so you might have to go back and sand it. But do I use? Somebody asked me if I use sanding sealer on them. Well, I've experimented with it. Again, to be honest with you, with this stuff, I don't think I need to. You know, like I said, I love the Minwax. Satin finish, warm satin finish. I just don't. I'm not in a glossy. You could now, if you wanted to, you could use butcher block sealer on it. You could use there. I could put it back in a chuck and use friction polish. But again, you got this, and like I say, if you pay attention to what I'm doing. Use one of these. Again, it goes back to the preparation, and if you get any debris in it, it's not good, because it'll show up everything there is, and you'll be forever sanding and cussing, and your piece of art will look like crap. It'll look like me, like I've been run over. Anyway, I've been on too long. I've been on 50 minutes now. So I want to thank you all for watching me. Again, if you haven't subscribed, if you're from out of the country or wherever you are today or tonight or tomorrow morning, leave me a message. Let's connect. I like the list of people that show up. And if you subscribe, it will tell you when I'm on. when I'm not on. Today is Wacky Weird Wednesday, so carry on. Again, make sure that you think outside the box. Be creative. Do something other than the other guy. God bless, and have a great rest of the day. Thanks for watching the Dutchman's Woodshop and the trains.